Squarehead gang, stand up! We're back with another video today. We're gonna be reacting to top true horror stories, and hopefully they're not that scary because your boy's not that good with like scary things, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't mess with creepers around here. That's what we do, especially to those black guys.
Yo, I just seen the ops on the block.
I mean,
we about to go bend real quick.
Especially to those Endermen, you know what I'm saying? With that being said, let's get into the video. If you're watching this right now, hit the subscribe button. 93% of you guys aren't subscribed to the channel who watch this video, which is crazy because we're at 500,000 subscribers. So if you guys actually subscribe, we might be at 1 million. Then I'd probably have enough money to get jawline surgery and fix my head. Please subscribe.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Alright, let's get into it. Let's get into it.
My name is Brandon White, and I used to get food from the McDonald's restaurant close to my house.
Okay, McDonald's. We love McDonald's.
A couple
McDonald's
of months ago, I walked in to get something and was attended by a new female employee named Mary.
Why is Mary nose like that?
She was middle-aged, had short brown hair, and was slightly overweight. While I waited for my order, she tried to get to know me, making small talk. I didn't mind at the time. She seemed nice, and there was nothing odd about our conversation. After giving me my sandwich, I left, not knowing that visiting McDonald's that day would lead to my biggest mistake ever.
What mistake?
The next few days after meeting her weren't that different from the first.
A black guy with a white guy is crazy, right?
I began to notice something strange about Mary. For starters, Mary was always the one taking my orders.
Oh, Mary's nose is huge.
This was unusual for McDonald's. To make things worse, the conversations she tried to have with me only became weirder and left me uncomfortable in most situations. She would say strange things like how I looked so sexy and tasty, and sometimes ask me questions that no employee should have been.
Wait, Mary got Riz. Mary got Riz.
Everything about Mary's behavior was odd. She looked almost 10 years older than me and didn't strike me as that sort of person in any way. Eventually, I began visiting another McDonald's far away from my house, deciding against reporting Mary and getting her fired.
Man.
A couple of weeks went by, and one day, I walked into the new McDonald's and saw Mary working at the counter. I was shocked and expected her to tell me if she was filling in for someone, but instead, Mary acted as if she'd never left the old McDonald's and didn't address the situation at all. She resumed her usual attempts at small talk and disturbing remarks, but I simply ignored everything she said, got my order, and left. I decided not to go to McDonald's for a while, and only had it when a few friends placed orders at their apartments. I didn't know if Mary still worked there, but I wasn't eager to find out. One afternoon, while walking home after getting groceries, someone suddenly bumped into me out of nowhere.
No shot. No shot.
Groceries failed.
No shot.
I bent over to pick them up, and the woman who had
no shot
began apologizing as she joined me to pick up the groceries. When I looked up to thank her, I was shocked to see.
Oh my gosh!
I remained in silence as my mind raced. Was this woman stalking me, or was this just a coincidence? After standing there in silence, Mary finally said, "Well, young man, I'm in a hurry, so sorry about that," and left, acting like she didn't know who I was. I brushed it off again as a coincidence and walked home. As I got home, I realized my house keys weren't on, but I was in a hurry and figured I had probably left without them. So I quickly got my spare key from under the mat, dropped my groceries inside, and left to meet up with my colleagues. My co-workers and I spent a couple of hours getting drunk and playing games.
W friends.
I left and headed home. But as I opened my door, something about it felt different. That feeling you get when someone else has been in your home was everywhere. But I was wasted, and all I wanted to do was take a shower. So I quickly looked around and headed to the bathroom. Later that night, I was alone in my living room watching HBO when my phone rang. I was curious about who could be calling me so late at night, so I answered with a simple, "Hello?" There wasn't a voice on the other end, but I could hear someone breathing heavily for about a minute before finally hearing a whispery voice say, "Come upstairs."
Oh, hell no.
I ended the call.
Oh, hell nah!
But something about
no!
And despite my efforts, I couldn't stop thinking about it and how I felt someone was in my home earlier that day. About 3 minutes later, my phone rang again, and it was the same number. I simply ignored it and tried to focus on something else. That's when I heard a noise coming from upstairs. I quickly switched off the TV and decided to listen more closely to make sure I wasn't hearing things. Sure enough, I heard a loud noise from upstairs, followed by another, and soon enough, I could tell they were footsteps, and someone was actually in my home. I quickly grabbed my phone and
Bro, run!
heading to the kitchen and grabbing a knife. The house was silent for the next few minutes, so I began to walk up the stairs slowly to make sure there was actually an intruder. As I checked each room one after the other, I began to calm down and question if I heard anything at all. Eventually, there was only one room left to check, and as I opened the door to the guest room, I was filled with a feeling of relief as all I could see was an empty room. And the sense of relief I had just gotten was quickly overcome with fear. Huh? As out of the corner of my eye, I could see a figure standing behind the door. Before
oh my gosh, her teeth!
The person
her teeth!
Knocking the knife out of my hand and settling on top of me, pinning both my arms under her. In that moment, all I could feel was terror as Mary looked me dead in the eyes before proceeding to grab the knife I had dropped. Mary slowly brought her head closer to me and began to sniff me, like she was taking in deep breaths. My skin began to crawl, and I began to struggle to get free, but there was no use, as Mary was a lot heavier than I was. She eventually stopped.
Mary with a torta?
Proceeded to say, "Oh, I missed you so much, baby. But you've been avoiding me lately. You looked so tasty today. I had to see you. And well, now I have to take a little bite." She smiled and continued, "Now, it'll hurt a little, but I'm sure you don't mind, darling." Nah. Mary quickly brought down the knife on my hand, taking my pinky finger clean off. The pain shot through my body, and I couldn't help but let out a piercing scream. Blood began to spill.
What?
And Mary couldn't hold back her laugh as she threw my finger in her mouth and chewed it down until nothing remained.
What? She ate it?
I had begun to close my eyes as I slowly lost consciousness from the pain. That's when Mary said, "No, baby, don't do that. I was just about to have one of your tastier parts." She then proceeded to hold my eyelids open as she lowered the knife slowly towards my eye. Before I could begin to plead with her, police sirens filled the air, and I was immediately filled with relief. Mary quickly got off me and pointed the knife at me, saying, "No. How did they find out, baby? You didn't call them, did you?" One look at the woman in front of me, and I could tell she was absolutely crazy. She began pacing the room and was visibly worried, so I decided it was better to play into her game than act out, as I already knew how far she was willing to go. "I'm so sorry. I didn't know
Am I gonna be able to post this?
So I called them. Just let me go down there and send them away, and I'll be right back." Mary looked at me with what seemed to be relief, and I could tell she truly believed what I had just said. She replied, "All right, honey, be quick now," and lowered the knife, letting me leave. I bolted downstairs with one thing in mind: get as far away from Mary as I could. As I stepped out of the house, I was met by a group of officers. They asked if anyone else was in the house before storming in and exiting with Mary in the next few minutes. Mary was taken away in tears as she screamed at me for betraying her and not keeping my word, confirming to the police that she was...
Bro, this guy needs medical attention.
In the last few days, I've been informed by the authorities that Mary is wanted in several states for multiple counts of rape, assault, and suspicion of cannibalism.
Gosh.
I was lucky enough to be the only one of her victims to survive her ordeal. That encounter still keeps me up at night, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about the first time I met Mary in McDonald's. I hope my story has helped you all realize that we really know nothing about the people who serve us and our families at McDonald's. In my case, I met a crazy serial killer who posed as a happy-go-lucky woman, but in your case, it just might be the devil who hands you your Happy Meal with a smile on their face.
Bro, she cut his finger off. She cut his fingers off, bro. And then ate him. Bro, that is actually insane. There's no... Dude, I'm running. Listen, I hate to be that guy. You know what I'm saying? But if I get a phone call that's like, "Come upstairs," I'm leaving my house. I'm not coming back, boo-boo. I don't care if it's my house. I'm gone. I'm coming back with like 30 homies. Me, the villagers, the other people I invited to the server. We're all going back to my house, and we coming back with the bows and the arrows. We coming back with the diamond sword. Bro, we coming with the armor. Bro, we are taking down everybody. Bro, come upstairs, baby. Oh, hey. So if you enjoyed this video, drop a like on the video, comment down below if I should continue this, make it a series. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Like I said in the beginning of the video, 93% of you guys who watch my videos on this channel aren't subscribed. I want to say thank you to everybody who made it to this part of the video. If you did make it to this part of the video, comment Squarehead Gang in the comments. I love you guys. It's your boy Kharrii. You know how we do. We out!